Suann just getting a reflection.
Yep.
Let's see. We got to get her
Why?
on camera. And she's trying to hide, but I'm going to chase. And look at that. She's got cobwebbing.
Get.
Good morning. Welcome to Build Day 37, all. Katie and I are just getting out here. It's going on about 10:30. I'm running late this morning. And I need to clean the camera. Things are foggy. But Suann's been out here. Well, come on. Watch out, Katie. Go on. Get on over there. We got to show everyone what you did. Camera's staying on you until you come through.
Do your blog.
I'm doing it. I'm getting the best thing out here. But no, Suann got out here this morning before I got out here, obviously. She's been doing some cobwebbing. And she's got everything cobwebbed pretty good. Gypsy's okay. She's also taking care of a hole that Kaylee's been digging. Filled it in with dirt. Now, oh my God. She has been having fun. Lots of cobwebbing. Now she still has one area to do, and that's that area right there in this whole fence line down through here. Provided I approve of what she's done. Kind of looks like a little cave entrance right through here.
But you can only go back to the pumpkins. After that, it's all kind of all blocked
Did
off.
you have any trouble with the board that's hidden there underneath the
No.
corner, or the one back there?
No.
Okay.
The spiders might be off, though, on your lighting.
Yeah, and to
that
fix
big
those, I've got to get into where that wall is, because they're up in the tree.
I'm just saying they might be off because I had to take them down in order to put up the webbing.
Yeah, and that's fine. I might be able to nudge them into place with a pole. But anyway, I've got to get the fence panel in here, which I'll do here in just a sec as soon as I get the camera put down. But we're not ready to put it down quite yet. Yeah, you're getting a little bit of everything this morning, aren't you, for the vlog? Over here, I've got a control box I need to put in for the witch, which means I'm going to have to run another power line over here to power it. And I've got this to wire up. I got 3 skulls of the candle pack that needs to be wired up, and I need to get the straw in. Shouldn't take that long, hour, maybe 2. And then we'll have everything done in here. And then Suann can have this display to fart around with. This over here, I'm not, she put the snake that was up on the web down here, and that looks fine. I'm not too sure. This looks a little overdone to me.
I couldn't stretch it. It didn't want to stretch. And I ended up with that much extra.
Yeah, and
it was.
And we got a curtain that hangs through here too. So
Yeah, I know. It's like trying to push it back to the web.
you almost, yeah, be careful pulling on that web. I can just see one of the corners coming snapping off and hitting you in the face. There, you got that to go back. Now you gotta get this to... Now I've got to watch out, because if it breaks loose, it's going to hit you and me. But that's how she does her webbing, just a little bit at a time. Push, pull, push, pull. I do want to address 2 comments, and they're both on the same subject. I had one a couple days ago, asked if I ever had trouble with my circuit breakers. And I kind of responded on the vlog for it. I think it was Mark Hall that asked that. And I could be wrong. Have I ever had trouble with blowing circuit breakers? Every so often we do. When I get done running all my electrical, all my household current, I normally come back through and saran wrap any connection that's out here in the open, you know, like on top of the walls and stuff to help protect them so water don't get into them. But every so often, I miss a connection or forget to do a connection. Or we have an item that I've forgotten to put under cover or put a cover over. The last 2 years ago, maybe 3, was that lamp back there. It was when we had the gypsy over where the snake is over there. And I forgot to put a plywood cover over it. We had a storm come through, dumped a lot of rain, and trunk line 3 kept blowing. And we couldn't figure out what was causing it to blow. So I ended up having to go through, unplug everything from the trunk line and plug the trunk line in just itself to see if it was one of the outlets on the trunk line that was blowing. And it took about an hour and a half doing that, going item by item. And we just slowly went through and started plugging things in until the circuit breaker went poof. Ended up being with that lamp. That lamp was causing it. I'd forgotten to put a cover over it, and the candle flame bulbs on it actually had standing water in them, and that's what was causing it. So we just unplugged it for the season and did fine. Anything that you have out in the open has to have some sort of cover, whether it's a plywood roof over it, saran wrap, what have you. Now, the other question also had to do with power, and was on yesterday's vlog. I've covered how I do my LED lighting almost every year, and it's usually right at the start of stage 4. In the vlogs, and I've shown the power station many a times. This is something I've made up myself. Now, I didn't go into it this year, but this runs off of those there. The 2 long silver things are server power supplies, and the 2 black squares are computer power supplies. Now, the computer power supplies run my low voltage, which is 5 volt low voltage, and a backup 12 volt in case something over here fails. The 2 server power supplies are 75 amps each, and they run, this bank here is all my lighting. This bank here runs all the control boards, pneumatics, that sort of thing. And then if I need a little extra that doesn't fit onto those, or if one of those circuits fail, I can put it over here, and I've got 7 circuits of a 12 volt low voltage DC. So that does all my powering. Now how I run my, go ahead. That dresser is borrowing the ladder. Now, as far as how I run my circuits, this is the back end. Each one of these connections runs up to a switch on here. This whole bank going down is the lighting circuit. Each one of these wires coming out of a circuit, or out of the connections up there, runs to a display. And I just run this out to the display, and then I just start daisy chaining connections onto this wire to to light up the display. And then when I go to do like a control board, every one of these wires goes to one control board for one prop. All my pneumatic props hook here, anything that takes a control board. That way, if I have something, let's say one of the pneumatic props falls apart on me during the season, and I don't want it to sit there and continue firing and possibly hurt somebody, I could come in here, hit the switch, and kill just that one prop. Now, what I end up doing is, after I get the whole hot wired up, I'll come back through and I can check each switch, and I'll make a list. Like number 1 here is the signs out front, or our sign and our rural sign. Number 2 is the whole front end, all the low voltage lighting on the pillars and the skellies. Number 3 is the lights on the witch. Number 4 is the graveyard. Number 5, and I'll do a list. That way, if something happens with the lighting, I can go in and kill just that one display if need be. Same thing with this up here. If I remember correctly, number 1 is the witch out at the entrance. Number 2 and number 3 are the 2 control boards over in the graveyard that run the sign and my grandparents' tombstone. Number 4 is the mausoleum, the air blaster in the mausoleum. So I have control over those individual props just by turning the switch off and on. Right now, I have, this is my backup 12 volt. The 7 switches going down here. I've got one thing hooked into that, and that's the pucks in the faux pumpkins over with the werewolf over here. Part of this display. I have so many LEDs on these wall panels that go through here, I cannot tie the pucks into the wall, into that circuit. For the simple fact, it overdraws and then the whole circuit goes dead. It won't work. So I end up having to do its own circuit. And I just put it over here. So I do that. Then as far as wiring, making connections between the wires, between the lights, between everything, I use these. They're an auto quick connect. And at the end of the season, I just come through and clip them off. Once they've been used, you can't reuse them. So, and I go through quite a few of those. This year I'm keeping track of those. Another thing I'm doing new this year, and I explained this in an earlier vlog for this season, I'm actually keeping count of how many lights I'm using in the haunt. Like this one here, FE, that's the front end. I've used 8 spots, 4 pucks, 4 of my small floods, and 2 of my big floods, just to light up that area. And then the witch, I've used 3 of the small floods. Graveyard, I had 27 spots in, 17 small floods, and 8 of the big floods. And I'm doing that for each display. I've never done that before. I normally just put them in and go on. But this year, I'm curious. I'm curious on how many lights I actually end up using and how many of each type. We've got spots. I've got pucks, which are a little round disc, holds 3 LEDs. They go inside the lighted skulls, candles, bottles, that sort of thing. My small floods are those black things down there, and I still got a few of those left. And then my big floods, my haunted treasure stuff, are these here. They hold 12 LEDs in them. So, I'm curious on how many lights I'm using, so I want to keep track of that. Now, hopefully that answers the question from the guy that was asking about my wiring. If I missed anything, leave a comment and I'll address it tomorrow. Now with that, breakfast of the day, handful of Bugles, potato chips, 3 mints, and a big, huge, king-size stick of, oh boy, Alberta pepperoni, and some Coke, which is what Kaylee and I had for breakfast this morning. And needless to say, I'm still hungry. But I'm going to get some work done out here, and then we'll get lunch later. Anyway, time to get to work. Okay. Kind of a frustrating time over here in Witch. But I've got the witches done as far as I'm going to go. Sue Ann's got a couple things she needs to do before I can seal it up. But all the lights are working. You'll get a nighttime look at it. Was in the middle of wiring up the board for the witch. And I couldn't get the witch to trip. And I noticed the candelabras weren't on. And I had power turned on, I thought. So I went and checked, my power station. Yeah, sure enough, the switch was off. And there goes the witch. But the GFI outlet had blown. Reset it. Came over. Everything was working for a little bit, and then it would blow again. And I went through and I unplugged everything except for Spider. Plugged it in. What gave it 5-10 minutes. Nothing tripped. Came over here, plugged in just the witch, and everything worked for about 5 minutes, and then boom. So there was something in the display itself that was tripping the GFI. And I was trying to think, the only thing that would cause that to trip would be a water item, say like the teapot. So I went and I checked it, and all the connections were totally dry. I then went over and checked the cauldron. And if you notice, it's misty in there. The water was condensing and running out the bottom of the bucket. And the connection for the mister was laying in it. So I took that out, let it dry, plugged it back in, waited 5 minutes. Sorry, waiting for the witch to shut up. Plugged it back in, waited 5 minutes, and it went off again. So I'm thinking, okay, what the hell? So I moved the cauldron and was taking a better look. The coals, all that condensed water that was coming out, had made a pool on the foam coals. And apparently the foam got wet enough to where it was dripping on the lights below, and every time it dripped on one of the lights, it'd blow the circuit. So I unplugged the coals. That took care of the problem, which is fine by me. Because this whole fireplace is probably going to end up going trash later, the first part of the season, depending if I can get the new fireplace working or not, which I'm going to be making over the winter. Ah, shit, I tripped the witch again. Now I have another problem that the power is staying on, is with the box. I have a speaker hooked up to it. I'm getting no sound. So I was thinking, well, maybe it's a piece of junk wire. So I went and cut some new wire off the spool, plugged it in, still no sound. I adjusted the volume on the amplifier, still no sound. So I figured, okay, well, maybe it's the MP3 player. So I unplugged the MP3 player, plugged it back in, still no sound. So I figure, well, maybe it's the SD card that goes in the MP3 player. Went in, redid the files, and still no sound. So the only other thing it could be, possibly, is a speaker, to my thinking. So, and I'm not going to worry about it. All the soundtrack does for this display, both the ambient and the activation sound, is the sound of fire burning for the fireplace. That's it. The display doesn't really need it. So I'm just going to go without. I'm done screwing with it. So I'm going to turn this over to Sue, let her do whatever cleanup she needs to do in here, whatever other detailing she wants to do. She's talked about doing some creepy cloth and stuff on some things. And our next display should be this here. The water room. It's not. I'm bypassing it. This is a 2 to maybe 3 day project, getting this room all set and ready to go just to add the water. You know, I've got wiring to do. I've got air lines I need to run. airlines to run, the liners to do. I've got to get the water wall put together, and then move all the props back into their place, get pumps in. It's a major undertaking. It's going to take several days to get it done. So I think what we're going to do, we're going to get all the other sets done first and then come back here to the water room. And we'll do the water room last. So my next set is over there, and it's going to be the Pirate. Now the Pirate can be a handful too. Not as bad as the water room, because it has a pneumatic in here as well. I am going to need to run a 12 volt line for power to power all the lights. And then I'm going to need to run another 12 volt line to run the board that controls the captain. Then I'm going to need to run 2 more lines to carry sound for the speakers that run off a stereo that has a soundtrack for this display. So I've got 4 lines I'm going to need to run over here. I don't think I have any 5 volt stuff. But the lighting is going to take a while. So I'm going to have to get creative, and I think what we're going to end up doing is, since it's basically 2 rooms for the Pirate, I'm going to run 1 line over for the lighting, and I'm going to split it in 2. One end will do the ship's wheel in this area here. The other line will do the other side over there in the bar. And we'll go through, start getting lights on. Then I think I probably also should probably run the airline that goes over here as well. Because that airline also does the water blasters. So I'm going to have to run a line. I'm going to have to get a line in here somehow, and I'm not looking forward to it. But anyway, there's a lot of complications with doing the Pirate. A lot of stuff to do. So I'm not sure how I'm going to do it, but we are going to do it one way or the other. But now I need to get Kaylee for a walk. I just got done with lunch. I came out and tried doing the SD card in the witch box, and that didn't work. And so I was like, okay, screw it, I'm done. Figure I'd give you this clip since I haven't shot anything. And now I'm going to go take Kaylee for a walk. Then we'll get over and start doing Pirate. Okay, it's almost 6 o'clock. Almost time for dinner, so I'm going to call it quits out here for dinner, and then come back out after dinner. I've been working over in Pirate. We got a 100-foot air hose, and we didn't use it all. There's still probably 25 feet out behind the wall, behind the fireplace where the tank is. Ran it in here along the wall, dropped it down there. I put a T on it, a 3-way T. One T is going along the wall through a hole in the wall into the Pirate to do the captain. The other 2 spots on the 3-way T will run him and him. And all I got to do is plug in the hoses and they're ready to go. Run the hoses and plug them in. That was the first thing I did out here. Now, I've been working over here hanging lights. I've got everything on the walls with lights. I hung up a spot here and a spot over there to light up the birds. Ship's wheels got lights on it to light up the guy on the wall and behind. I've got lights on the fence to light up him and that skull. I've got lights on everything in the hallway here, so those need to be wired. And I just got done putting lights up in here, and it's not all the lights. I've got more lights I need to attach to the fence, which I can't do until the fence has been put in. So what I'll do is I'll tee off the power line over here, and I'll do a pool of extra wire there in that corner. Then once the fence gets in, I can put my lights on that I need on, and lights in that I need in, and go from there. Oh, and by the way, there's the other end of the hose, air hose from the water room. So everything in here in Pirate is ready for wiring. I'm going to do that after dinner. I'll run the main line out here to do the lights. Now, over here in the witch area, Sue Ann came out after I finished and did a little work as well. The witch is done and ready. And I'll give you a look at this tonight. Now, why the hell is that flickering like that? I had it set not to do that. Oh, well, it can just stay that way, because I have to be inside to do it, and I'd mess up our cobwebbing if I did. So, I don't know. I might be able to get it from this side. Depends on the sensor. But you got her creepy cloth in, did some vinage, put some gourds in. She even cobwebbed the fence. Now, as far as the mister goes in the cauldron there, I have a piece of piping, PVC piping. I think it's a 1-inch diameter. And it's long enough to stand here at the fence, put one end in the bowl, and then a watering can in the other end. We can fill the bowl from outside without having to get in. We can do the same thing with the fountain over in the Pirate, which is on the bar. That way we don't have to keep getting in there every day to put water in, or every other day. Depends on how fast they go through water. But for now, I think I am going to go ahead and head on in and grab dinner. Then we'll come back out, and like I said, I've got to run a main line from the power station out here, and then I can tee off of it to get to the different areas I need to, so I can start wiring lights up. I don't know how far we're going to get on getting the lights hooked up tonight. Probably get a couple of them. You'll get a look at the witch, nighttime view of the witch completed. No AC on. You'll have to wait until the walkthrough video to see all the whole full display set up. And if I get any lights hooked up over here, I'll give you a look at this too. We'll just have to see how far we get. So anyway, see you guys after dinner. Okay, been out here since after dinner. It's going on 8:30. I'm calling it quits. I'm making too many damn stupid mistakes, and it's been a very frustrating evening. I came out, ran the, hold it, before I even get to that, I turned on all the power, all the lights, so I didn't have to use my headlamp to navigate through the sections I'd already gotten lit. For some reason, Spider wasn't coming on, and finally ended up being it's because I hadn't turned the switch on. And it's like, hold it. I had to go through count switches and everything. Then number 7. See, where is it? This one right here. The light wasn't coming on, which usually means there's no power. And so I disconnected the line from number 7, put it into my backup, into my backup here, turned the whole system on, and walked the on. Everything but Spider was on. And sorry, I am out of it. But everything but Spider was on. Okay, what the hell am I doing? So I went and counted the light. Number 1 is the entrance. Number 1 is the signage. Number 2 is the entrance. 3, 4, on down, counting off the displays, because I was doing them in order. Everything was on except everything was on, including the tube hallway. But the tube hallway is on 2 circuits. I explained when I put that in, the wall panels draw too much power from my wiring, so I can't run the 4 puck lights off the same circuit as the wall panels. Yeah. There we go. That's a little bit better. So I have to put the wall panel, or not the wall panels, but the pucks in the faux pumpkins over there on the backup 12 volt. And for some reason, both the wall panels and the 12 volt, or the wall panels and the pucks, were on the backup supply. Well, the wall panels were supposed to be on number 7, but it's hooked up to the backup supply. So I'm trying to figure out, okay, what do I have hooked up to number 7? And I'm going through looking at it, and I can't figure out what's what. Finally, I realized Spider wasn't on number 7. And the reason why it wasn't coming on is because I hadn't turned the switch on. It was like number 11 or 12 or something like that. I don't remember which right now. So, okay. Spider's fine. All the displays are lit up. But yet, I have one lead. This is what was hooked up to number 7. What the fuck is this to? It's not to lighting, and that circuit is all supposed to be for lighting. So where the hell does this go to? Everything is on. All the lights are on. In every display I've done, all the lights are on. So the only thing I can think of is this goes to, or should have been on this other circuit here. This is one all my brain boards and stuff go to. So I am going to have to, tomorrow, get out here, turn T1, T2 on, turn on all the lights, and then turn on the other circuit that runs all the animatronics, all the brain boards and stuff, and walk the whole haunt and make sure everything's firing until I find out whatever that wire goes to. I have no idea what that wire goes to. It was hooked up to number 7 for some reason on the light circuit. So I should have some lights out here. Not working. Problem is, all the lights are working. I mean, up into the witch, nothing's been wired. There are no other lights anywhere in the haunt that run off a low voltage. The only other display after the witch that has any sort of lighting is a clown, and only because it's tied into household current. There are no low voltage lights in the clown. And I didn't have that circuit on anyway. That's T1. You know, so they wouldn't have been on anyway. So I'm trying to figure out what the hell is that wired to. But anyway, I did promise you guys a nighttime look at things. This way, I do not have any of the trunk lines on, but I wanted to show you the Spider all cobwebbed. I think it looks neat, and it's going to look better once the AC's on and the boards and stuff are running. And get on over here, and you know, everything is just really cobwebbed good. She even went through and put little spiders and stuff. Hey, Chris Davis, if you're watching this little guy wants to meet you. Chris Davis hates spiders. Oh, she hates them with a passion. And then here's the witch display all lit up. And I still don't know why that damn portrait is flashing like that. It shouldn't be. And I forgot to bring my remote out, and I won't worry about it. Now, if you will recognize here, this is supposed to be water room with pirate on the other side, and it's totally dark. The reason why it's totally dark is because I have no lights over there yet. I did make it out here after dinner, ran the power line, the main low voltage line over there. We did get all the LEDs installed. And we had an accident. In the middle of running the power line out to Pirate, I had to run it down to the top of the walls in the water room. And in the process of getting into one of the displays to get the power line to run it down, I slipped and fell into a fence post. Fence post went into my ribs. So my ribs are killing me now. I'm probably going to have a nice bruise there come morning. But in the process of falling, I tripped over one of the dragons in the Mermaid Dragon display and broke it. Luckily, it's just the leg, and I can repair that, and I will deal with that when I get into doing the water room. So right now, it's just going to lay there. I'm flustered and flabbergasted with myself. But anyway, that's pretty much as far as we've got. I got the trunk line, ran over into Pirate, hooked it up to the power box, turned the power on. I went to hook up my first light, and it was one of my small 6 LED floods. Light wouldn't come on. It's like, okay, what's wrong? Okay, I got bad connection. It's got to be a bad connection because it's hooked up to the power box. And I'm sitting there snipping the bad connections off, redoing them. Snipping off the bad connections, redoing it. I finally went through all the wire sticking out of the flood. So that flood's no good. I got to take it down now because there's no wire on it. There's no way I can hook it up. I think, okay, what the hell's wrong? Because that should not have happened. And I should have known better and stopped after the second try instead of doing 3 more tries. I didn't. I'm out of it. I just kept going until I ran out of wire. And it's like, okay, what's wrong? So I came in and got a spot, bared the ends, went out there, bared the ends into the trunk line, and touched the wires together. And the spot should come on if there's power. Spot didn't come on. The main line I just ran out was dead as a doornail. And I'm thinking, okay, what the fuck happened? Why don't I have power? So I came back, did I forget to turn the switch on, after I connected it to the power station? Came in, switch is on, so it should have power. So I start checking, the connector. It's, down there. But, I decided, well, I'll check the connection and pull the wire out. Got to the negative, and the negative, apparently when I put it in, I wasn't paying attention, and it was just pressed against the connector. It hadn't gone into the hole. So technically, the wire wasn't connected. Hence why I didn't have power. And it's just, I made a stupid mistake like that. And it's just, oh, geez, Michael, Ram, come on. And it's like, okay, it's time to call it quits. I'm slipping and falling and breaking things. I'm ruining a lot. I ruined a light. I didn't hook the line up correctly to begin with to the power station. It's just like, okay, I've got to quit. I just got to quit. So I'm all cleaned up now. Kaylee and I need to go park the truck, and then I'll give you an abbreviated end of the day wrap up because you kind of just got it now. But hold on, end of the day wrap up coming. Hey, now we're into the wrap up. And I covered most of the wrap up in the last segment, so I really don't have much to talk about. You know what we've gotten done today and the problems I've had. No need to rehash it again, though I normally do. Tomorrow it's going to be straight Pirate. We did get the power line ran out there. I got my problems taken care of with that, so it is on live and working. I got to replace the light I screwed up. And we did get all the lights hung out there, except for on the fence panel that goes on the bar. And those will be done at a later date. Hoping tomorrow we should be able to get all the lights I have up, wired up and working and aimed tomorrow night. I've got a control box I need to put in, so I'm going to need to run another power line out there just for that. And then I'm going to have to run 2 more lines out for 2 speakers because of the ambient soundtrack that we use. It's played on our stereo, not an MP3 player. So I got a lot of wiring in that one. Hopefully I don't keep tripping over that damn dragon during the day, and I'll be a lot more alert. I shouldn't. And I'm not even sure if I'll get to doing the speakers tomorrow. It depends on how long it takes to do the lighting and the control board to get the captain going, because that's a pneumatic. And plus I got to track down our mystery cable here and see where the hell that goes to too. I wouldn't be too surprised if it went to the control board for the werewolf. Yeah. It would have to be the werewolf. But the only way I'm going to be able to find that out is by turning on all the trunk lines and turning on the full system, and then walking through and see what turns on and what doesn't. According to my nighttime look, all the lights are turning on, so lights should be fine. It's got to be a control board wire, but it's driving me nuts. We'll diagnose that first thing in the morning. If I try doing it now, 1, I'm out of it, I'll end up missing something. 2, the air compressors make too much noise. And 3, if I turn on all the trunk lines, people are going to start piling up at the gates. Every time I turn on trunk line 1, especially this close to opening, we start having people show up. So I try to avoid turning trunk line 1 on at night if I can at this point. But anyway, guys, I'm going to get going. Stay spooky, stay talk.